Thank you for joining the Pain to Triumph podcast. In today's episode, you'll get to learn about how Rovonda and I met and how our friendship has developed over time. We hope you enjoy today's episode. People often ask us, how did you guys become friends and ask us our stories? So we figured we would share that with you guys today. And so let's start off with that question. How did our friendship begin? So I'll let Rolanda start there, then I'll answer the question as well.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So I always forget the year, but I do know back in Chicago, her and I met at church, and I want to say it was 2002. I remember, just being like, wow, she's so bubbly. What you see with Miss Faye is definitely what you get. She always gonna have that classic smile and just radiating joy. So that's when our friendship, well, and I was gonna say we met at church, but our friendship began when she became my realtor. I would like to say that that's when the friendship began because as anybody knows who's purchased a home, your nerves are shot. And she just was so calming and gave so much great information. And it was my first experience with really having a concierge experience with real estate. My husband and I purchased our first home through. So that's when our friendship, I believe, really began.
I concur. It's funny because I met Edward, your husband, first. We met at
Right.
work, working downtown Chicago
That's right.
at Prudential. And he and I just hit it off. And he is actually the one who told me about the church that we met at, which at the time was called House of Prayer in Chicago. And once I came to the church and I met you and I met the girls, it was really like an instant connection. But I would have to agree with you. Meeting at church is one thing. We would laugh and joke and connect at church, but there was a deeper relationship formed through the real estate transaction, really getting to know each other, really creating that bond and just knowing, we just hit it off. And I was like, okay, this is my client, but this also about to be my sister because we just had too many similarities
Yep.
and just too much in common. And we just clicked. And we've been pretty much inseparable since then. So 23 years and counting.
Nice. So our second question to ourselves is how has our friendship evolved over the years? So I'm gonna let Faye start that one off.
I mean, I would say the evolution to me has been really beautiful because to me, you can tell a real friend when adversity hits, right? Like we've been friends through deaths in my family, losing both my parents. You've had loss in your family, just showing up authentically, never really any judgments, any hesitation. I would just say our friendship has deepened over the years because we've seen each other at our best and we've seen each other at our worst. And it drew us closer. It didn't push us apart. And even when we felt like our friendship was under attack, we had enough sense and discernment to go into warfare for each other and know how to hold on to each other and not let distractions get in the way of our friendship. So I would say it has evolved beautifully. It has matured and grown the way a real friendship is supposed to grow.
Yeah. So I'll add to that. I believe it's grown through just piggybacking what you said. Our friendship has evolved through misunderstanding, disagreement. It's evolved through even living together. At some point, we may get into that a little more, but when we both are out here in Arizona now, when I initially moved out here, or even said that I wanted to move out here because Faye moved out here first, I had never had a friend to be like, you and your family, all three of your girls, your husband, come stay with us until you could find a place. And I was like, really? You want that type of, commitment, me and my whole family? So our friendship has evolved into, I think, what people will see now with us even doing the podcast is a sisterhood. I think we've seen each other at our worst and our best and still have retained our respect and admiration for each other as women. So for that, I'm I'm very appreciative.
And, the one thing I can say that, you know, as we were talking, it was like, okay, what have you learned about yourself through your friendship? It's so many times you've coined this word for me, and you always say, sis, you a unicorn. Like, you a unicorn. You always call me that. And it's kind of funny to me because I don't always see all the things that you see. And I think when you have a good, solid friend, you need those friends to be your mirror, your eyes, your reflection, and your cheerleader. That when you're at those low points, they can help you and say, hey, I see greatness in you. This isn't on to death. Get up. And
Yeah.
so I appreciate so much that some of the things I've learned about myself through our friendship is there's beauty in the mess. Like everything doesn't always have to be perfect. Everything is not always going to be happy. When you hit the rough spots, it's okay to say, ouch,
Yeah.
that hurt. It's okay to be transparent and honest. When you have a real friend, they gonna see you when you sound a mess, look a mess, when you're not your real self, and they gonna know it's not you, and they gonna know to pray. They gonna know to come just knock on your door without an invitation. And let themselves in and say, "Open this door and let me in here because you don't sound right. So I'm gonna pop up on you and make sure you good." Those are some of the things that I've learned you need in a friendship. And I'm so thankful that we have that there are not many people in this world that have that 100% ride or die that they know are going to show up for them with all their flaws and all their messiness. They're not going to give up on them. And that's something that I love about what we have.
So, one of the things that I think I've learned most about myself throughout our friendship is that I am very loyal. you know, doesn't mean that, you're not going to have disagreements, but to throw in the towel after things hit is not loyalty. You were never committed in the first place. If you're committed to something, you're going to hang in there and you're going to see it to healing and getting the understanding. I think I learned that more through even just being more optimistic. This is the queen of optimism. I thought I was optimistic. She takes it to another level. That's why I call her a unicorn, y'all, because she takes it to has a whole rainbow attached. Sometimes you could get down. Our friendship has taught me that I wasn't loyal to me. I would throw in the towel on myself before I would throw it in on other people. So I would always thank you for that. Like, she would be like, hey, you need to bet on you. You need to look at this and get it going. So that's what I think I've learned about myself. And I'm more vested in making sure that I am taking care of me and making sure that the things I want to accomplish are being heard and seen and accomplished as a result of that as well. So I like these questions.
I mean, people need to get to know us. And this
Yeah.
is the real, transparent, authentic us. We want you to understand that our journey with you is a mission, it is a passion, it is a transparent honesty that we want you to understand who we are, why we're friends, so you know what to expect from us and can hold us accountable, right? So I would say, in asking what would you say your legacy of your friendship would be? For me, it would be what I just said. There is godliness and beauty in honesty, transparency, loving people no matter where they're at, and trustworthiness, and just making sure that you're a cheerleader for someone else. It's so much jealousy and backbiting
Oh my.
and negativity in the world.
Yes.
We don't need that amongst each other.
Yeah.
We need to be lifting each other up, encouraging each other, and being our friends' biggest cheerleaders.
Yeah.
They should know you have a cheering squad in the background and that there's nothing they could do that will stop you from loving them. So if that's a legacy that I believe with my friends, if I leave this world tomorrow, I would want my friends to show up and say, she had my back. She loved me when I was being ugly and pretty. She loved me no matter what I did to her. If I needed somebody to come help me from my muddy moments
Yeah,
and when I had my crown on and I was walking in beauty, she loved me at either end of the spectrum. That's the legacy that I want my friendships to have, is that it wasn't just surface, that it was real and that I loved with intent.
that's powerful. And I definitely have the same sentiment. You do want people to know how much you love them and that that love is demonstrated, not just with words. It's you showing up, you being present, you being there through the good, the bad, the ugly. And that's what we've done. We know that we have other friends, obviously, in our lives. And I think that's a reoccurring theme with everyone we're friends with. We've both made this legacy of letting people know that we're going to show up. We're going to be there. We're going to love on them. We're going to just be that light, you know, to their lives. I always feel like the legacy that I desire to leave is I want to add to you. I don't want to take anything away. I want your life to be that much more rich and accomplished as a result of our paths crossing. And I'll say this, because we are doing the podcast together, girlfriend, I believe our legacy, I think it's working together. You said years ago, backstory, y'all. When Faye was in real estate, when she was a realtor, she said, I see us working together. I don't know what, I don't know when, but I see us working together. Cause at the time, I was an interior design student and I just learned that I didn't want to, yeah, I didn't want to be in people's houses doing that part. I love design on a personal level, but we kept playing around with the idea, thinking that it was going to be in real estate and design. But how ironic that it is, we took a turn to a different type of design and it's really empowerment. Our design, our footprint is empowering people to know that they can turn their pain into something so beautiful. And I'm very grateful to be doing this journey with someone I trust and respect.
Amen.
Yeah.
And so, for me, I just want to say this is going to be life changing for us
Yes.
because this is us entering another level of our friendship, putting business into the equation. Honestly, I'm so glad that it's with you because 23 years later, we still rocking together. We're growing together,
Bro.
and I just can't wait to see the results and the blessings that are going to come from this collaboration. So I'm very thankful and I thank God for it.
Yeah. And the friendships that's gonna come out of it because, we showing we're friends, you guys, the viewers, but we're showing ourselves friendly. So we hope that you join this journey with us and come along for the friendship that's going to develop because I don't believe I've ever met a stranger. The content that we're champion is a positive one. And I believe everyone can really benefit from hearing some good news. As we know in our walk at church, we want to spread the good news, spread some good news.
So, hang in there with us, guys. Come along for this journey because we're going to have a lot of fantastic interviews and stories where hopefully you can relate and you can champion some of these causes. You'll get to know people as we bring them on this journey with us. And we're going to give a lot of opportunities for you to network with people and bless their businesses and just participate in this. We want to hear from you. We want to know things you want to hear about, things that are important to you. We definitely want this to be something where you're blessed and we're blessed to continue to be a blessing. So thank you so much for joining us. And we look forward to continuing this ride with you. If you would like to be a guest on our podcast, please go to our website at paintotriumph.com. And that's PAINTOTRIUMPH.com. and enter your contact information.